Welcome to the Infill Podcast, where we interview the most interesting members of the 3D printing and maker communities, live and with audience participation. And now, here is your host, Jonathan Levy.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to a special Friday edition of the show. We normally don't do two episodes back to back, but we have a very, very special guest today with a very, very packed schedule. So we had to make accommodations. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but first, let's do one of my favorite segments of the show, which is What's Printing, Jonathan? Brought to you by Octo Everywhere. Yesterday on the podcast, I did say that I'd been running the belt printer 24/7 for about a week, and it's still running, as you can see, on additional prints. And the print that I printed yesterday on the Voron is now done. It's a drip collector for my father-in-law, and you can see Octo Everywhere, which you can sign up for free if you have just one printer, or get a $25 credit if you have multiple printers. You can see that it allows me to fully manage the printer remotely, check it, control it, and all that awesome stuff. On to today's guest. Today we are joined by none other than Blayne Sapelli. He is the creative marketing director over at Snapmaker. He is my main point of contact, but he also has been around at Snapmaker since the very, very early days of the U1 project. And today we're going to learn about just how the U1 came to be, how production is now going, what is unique about the U1 that has allowed it to capture the market so quickly. Blayne, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thanks very much for having me on. I'm excited to be here virtually,
Yeah, indeed. I'm really excited, and I think I've been in that conference room, which is kind of cool to see it now
I think so.
Online. Let us know, folks, in the peanut gallery if the audio is good, if I need to maybe bring up the levels or something like that, because people always complain that the audio levels are not the same. Blayne, I want to get into the U1, obviously, but first I want to hear your story. How did you get into the 3D printing industry? How long have you been interested in it? And when did you join Snapmaker?
Oh man, my first exposure to a 3D printer was in 2011, maybe. I was working at a software company, and one of my coworkers bought a MakerBot. I think was the brand, right? The one that was it is like the laser cut frame, like the wooden one, I think. Right? And I just remember thinking this would be amazing to print like Warhammer miniatures on.
Yeah.
That was my first exposure to it. It's just such a really cool technology, and so that was my first thought. And then, right, I've had friends that have always dabbled in it. It's a really, like I said, it's a cool technology. It lets you just build things. And then I had an opportunity almost 2 years ago now, where I met the marketing director at Snapmaker at a makerspace meetup here in Shenzhen.
That's
and then
Ziggy.
he liked. That's Ziggy, yes. That's
Cool
Ziggy.
guy.
So if you guys
Really
have
cool guy.
been to, if you've been to the expos, you may have met Ziggy, a very extroverted, fun guy to meet and hang out with.
Yeah.
So I met and hung out with him. He liked my vibe, and then he was trying to get me to bring me from my old job and pull me into Snapmaker for several months before before the stars aligned. Let's put it that way.
Now you told me, and what year was that?
Oh, this was the end of 2023. Actually, is when I first met him.
Yeah. So
And
you
then I
had told
came
me
into
what
Snapmaker.
sold you on coming to Snapmaker, and I love if you tell that story.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I had met him at the makerspace, and he was like, "Oh, we might need some more marketing people in the near future, especially internationally focused people who have global experience, blah, blah, etc." But when it got really serious and it was like, I have this job open, a specific job, and not just, I like your face, I want you here. We met for coffee at like a skate park. And he runs a Sunday morning chess club. So we were playing chess and drinking coffee, and he pulled me aside and he's like, "I know you've been researching into 3D printing and you've been interested in it, but we have a new product coming along, and it's still going to be a little while. but this is why you need the time to like ramp up into it, the runway to get used to the company and get used to the industry and everything else before we're ready to actually take off with this thing. So I learned about the Snapmaker U1 in uh, early 2024, like a month or two before I signed the contract and actually started working at Snapmaker.
Wow.
So this machine has been in development for quite some time, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like more than 2 years. And then they decided to
Yeah.
start marketing the product 2 years ago now.
Yeah. So, having the tool changer explain to me in what it does and how it like leapfrogs a lot of the major problems in the 3D printing industry, that is what really sold me, and that is what triggered me into being like, yes, okay, I need to work here. It doesn't just sound cool and interesting because it's 3D printing. It's like there is this new awesome product right on the horizon about to come, and I can be a part of that.
Yeah.
So this is interesting because when I came into Snapmaker, like we hadn't released a new product in quite some time, right? So it was kind of like the doldrums period in between product releases. So
Right.
I've gotten to see what I would describe as the lows, and now I am currently riding the highs, and I'm trying to stay humble. It's not always easy.
Well, let me, for those who are living under a rock, let me blow some smoke
Sure.
up your ass, I guess. It's my podcast. I
Yeah,
can swear.
yeah.
$18.5 million now you guys have raised?
Yeah, I think I checked it this morning. We're 18.5, and we're a lot of Kickstarters. You start off strong and you collect 30 to 40% of your big boom in the first 3 days, and then it
Right.
levels off. And then depending on how you market it, I think we're about to hit the last minute jump. So I think we're going to end up over 20.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
That-
Can I share what you had told me before the goal was? I mean, internally? Or can we just say that it was a
no one
lot
told me
less than that?
no one told me yeah, no one told me I couldn't. So why not? Why not share it?
You guys had told me, because obviously I've had a small part in the marketing campaign, and you guys had told me, fingers crossed, if we hit 10 million, we can do really, really amazing things. That's what the company's shooting for, 10 million. And you guys are about to double it. I'm going to ask you a hard question. I sat to
Sure.
dinner with the team at Eufymake who did the E1, I think it's called. So we're already right there. We know if we want to have a successful Kickstarter, X1, E1, U1, B1, just name it something one. Letter one, that's the formula.
Sure.
I'm sure that's all that went into it. But I asked them, funny question. I said, kind of jokingly, you guys had planned to do, I don't know how much, but he told me, I think we did 18 times our goal. So they raised $47 million.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yeah.
your bosses must have been thrilled with you guys. And he's like, everyone says that. No. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, there's a certain point, a bell curve almost, if you will. My words, not his, where he's like, if you overshoot your goal so much, it almost becomes a burden, manufacturing wise, fiscal responsibility wise. Like, what do you do with $47 million in cash? That's a lot of money. And communication wise, now you have 18 times more customers that you need to keep happy and communicate and support. And he's like, we're going to do it. But he's like, the engineers, the production manager, the factory manager, they kind of all hate the marketing department now because we ruin their lives, in the best possible way. Again, I'm embellishing, but he just said, it's a burden. It's really hard. Are you guys at that point, or are you guys ecstatic with the results?
I think right now we're ecstatic. I think double the stretch goal is a lot more doable than 18 times the stretch goal.
I think that's fair.
So I think our capacity to scale and deliver is going to be fine. Although it is certainly stressful thinking about how many units need to be prepared and shipped and get to people. And if there happen to be any kind of delays, like we just had a big typhoon, explaining how those delays happen. Because I know, like, even UFUMake has recently had to explain some kind of delay. Like, those things happen. That's just part
They
of
do.
business. And if you back
And
a
it's especially
Kickstarter,
part
like,
of Kickstarter. Yeah. I
yeah,
was I was surprised, interested that a lot of the comments on the video that I just released, which you guys should all watch, I got to tour the factory, and I think you guys are also doing a live stream today, which is why you're at the factory right now. So check that
right.
out as well. Stealing the thunder from my video, but I'll forgive. It's your factory.
Yeah, sorry.
What was interesting to me is people started doing the mental math, and I know Wushu. I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name. We can bleep that later. But one of the very high up employees involved in production there, it was important to him that we don't give numbers, specifics, how long it's going to take, how many printers are made every day, and people were doing that mental math. But it's hard to do the mental math right because you have a lot of missing variables. But also people are like, it takes 90 minutes to make a printer, so they can only make like 18 printers a day. I was like, no. A printer comes off the line every 180 seconds. And again, we didn't tell how many shifts, how many lines, how many this. So there's still a lot of, but it was interesting how people don't understand this, the pace that a factory has to go at to deliver, 20,000 printers hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we need to get 20,000 printers completed, built, and tested, and shipped out the door by the end of the year. That's right. That is an absolutely huge number.
Yeah, and Gonzalo says the mental math has been done many times in the Discord channel.
Oh, absolutely. I bet there's some pretty complex equations going on. Yeah, two things. Number one, the numbers we tell you could always be a lie, right? We could always be trying to confuse our competitors.
True.
So don't trust anything Wushu says.
Right.
No, just joking. And number two is there is like an intense competition here all over the world in the 3D printing industry. And since so much of it is in Shenzhen, like some of these guys are a little bit paranoid about like company secrets. Like you mentioned, even things like how much time does it take to get a printer off the line, right? But like I on the one hand, like I understand, like, I want to know what my competitors are up to. And on the other hand, I'm like, well, it's not really the best use of my time if I'm sitting there.
Sure.
I don't know, going on Reddit and writing mean comments about my competitors.
Totally. I do think it's interesting. Can we talk about some of the corporate espionage that you've told me about, or would we rather, not naming names, obviously, but are you comfortable saying the just so people have an idea that this paranoia, or can we just say already we know that the paranoia is well-founded?
Yeah, we can say there's sure. Let's keep it a little vague.
You guys are dealing with competitors trying to figure out a lot of things about the printer before it's unreleased.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's leave it there.
Right. I think we didn't invent the tool changer, of course.
Right.
I would never take credit. I think did E3D release theirs on the market?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. Okay, so that was the first one you could just go to the store and buy.
I think you still had to build it though. It was a platform.
Oh, it was still that was still a kit. Okay, cool. So we didn't invent the tool changer, but of course these specific mechanisms through which we've developed ours to cut costs and make it reliable and things like that. Those, of course, are of great interest to the competitors, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the companies out there are really, really good at fast following, right? Like, who makes the best thing? Can I do this 10% cheaper?
Yes.
And just get market share because I have like a big company with a big name or something like that.
Right.
Or a small company that wants to get that angle. Yeah, so there's a lot of intense competition, and I think some of that paranoia is certainly justified, especially when it comes 100%. To the trade
and
secrets.
I think it's interesting. Like, one of the things that I don't remember if I actually put this in my video or not, but when I looked at the thing, one of the first things I said to you was, where did you guys cut the costs? Like, okay, I get using injection molded instead of aluminum. That's a lot cheaper. But where did you cut the costs? There are not, besides the injection molded panels instead of aluminum, there are not corners cut. And that's when you came to me and you said, it's supply chain, right? Like knowing which suppliers and stuff like that. And then the manufacturing processes, right? Like people think China, they think cheap labor. China is not cheap labor anymore. It's cheaper labor than Germany, but it's not cheap labor. So a lot of the cost of a high-end Chinese printer is going to be the labor. And if you can figure out a way to manufacture the printer faster, even if it's not, looking at the materials, like, oh, there's less metal on this printer than plastic. If you can figure out efficient ways, this is what I understood touring the factory. If you can figure out efficient ways to cut down on labor so the thing goes together faster, you can reduce the costs. Plain and simple.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So like in Shenzhen, this is a very upper middle income part of the world. It doesn't compare to like the total average GDP of all of China. If you just look at this city or this province, you're looking at a much more not competitive, but like more comparable to like a lot of first world countries, a lot of parts of Europe and places like that.
And you realize that a couple ways. One is you realize when everyone's like, "Oh, our factory's not in Shenzhen," for all the low tech stuff, right? Like filament and stuff. It's not going to be in Shenzhen. It's too expensive. And when you have companies like Sunlu setting up factories in Vietnam, because the labor cost has become too expensive even in Zhongshan, which is outside of Shenzhen. But they're like, labor cost in China is expensive. We're setting up shop in Vietnam.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's wonderful too.
It's wild. I got here in 2018, and the pace of development is unbelievable. I mean, I'm from a small town in Connecticut with 20,000 people, and I think Greater Shenzhen is 20 million. So, right from my hometown, when like a new hot dog store opens up or whatever, like that's exciting and new. Here, that cycle of like something new coming up is crazy. Like I got here right before they got rid of gasoline taxis, and they replaced all the taxis with electric taxis about a year after I got to Shenzhen. Yeah, that's right.
Wild, the pace of things.
The speed is incredible, and I think it is part of that relentless competition that also drives the paranoia that lets you do things like that incredible cost control. So you're automating as many processes as you can, as makes sense, and you are looking for massive efficiencies in terms of what your human beings are actually doing. Like, what do they need to do? What can I outsource? Who can I and how can I control those outsourced processes to meet my quality requirements and things like that? It's just a massive amount of supply chain control and looking for those efficiencies everywhere you can. Cutting the things that are not required for in this case, the printer to work really well. And keeping those that are essential to make it like run smoothly.
So I want to switch gears a little bit from the printer itself and talk about the marketing process, because I didn't tell you this, and I've been meaning to tell you. Your talk at TCT Asia surprised me, because it felt to me like you were giving away the farm. Like you guys did something extremely smart and extremely successful with this product and its development and beta testing and marketing. And then you just gave away the keys to the kingdom to anyone who would listen, which I thought was lunacy. But I'd love if you shared what was unique about the marketing campaign for the U1, even before people knew that it was coming out.
Yeah, sure. Part of it is controversial, and part of it was controversial here, which is I wanted to run a very, very open beta testing program and get the word out based on like honesty and truthfulness, and like what you are seeing is like the unvarnished truth. Like if things don't look perfect, that's because it's in a beta state, and you're looking at the things we're using as feedback to actually make improvements and make things better. So going with that strategy was a gamble.
And
And
very
took a lot of
contrary to
convincing.
how a lot of Chinese companies operate.
Yeah, I think people are, yeah, like I said, very often paranoid, and they want a lot of control. But
Right.
there's a couple things here that made that let me do it a little bit differently. I think Snapmaker is a little more open-minded. They came in, they found me, right? We mentioned before, Ziggy found me specifically for the fact that I had a certain mindset, a certain
Right.
way of looking at the world and dealing with marketing. So not just being like competent at doing my job, but also at taking a unique angle to it, which is why they've thrown a creative marketing manager label on the stuff I do. And then the other thing is how did we found the community beta testers? So
Right.
in the beta tester program, we, like many other companies, grabbed influencers like yourself to help us play with the machine, give us your feedback and things like that. And that's a no-brainer because you guys have a big audience. But we also wanted like regular people from our community to not just help, but also feel rewarded and like it was part of being in the Snapmaker family and community. And this was, we ran for the past year since I got here, we started running these video contests. And I came up with the idea that first prize should not just be the cool gift, but should also be you get enrolled in the beta testing program.
Cool.
So going forward, if you buy a Snapmaker U1 and you are asking me, how do I get in the, sorry, if you're asking, how do I become a beta tester? You buy a U1 and you join our cool video contests, because that gives us a combination of really awesome content. We meet really cool people because I've gotten to know a lot of these beta testers pretty well. And then you get to play with the machine months before anyone else does. So you get to have that little private thing.
Yeah, the organic factor of the marketing campaign where it felt to me, now admittedly, I don't know every content creator, so it could be the folks that I'm going to say, are not big names. I don't want to offend anyone, but it was
Sure.
surprising to me when I watched your marketing video at TCT 650 times, because I was keeping my stuff in your booth, that there were a lot of authentic user voices who maybe are popular on Discord or Instagram, but they're not the big name YouTubers. And I think that gave a lot of legitimacy, right? There were also the big name YouTubers, but
Sure.
I think that's kind of revolutionary from many companies who are like, no, we could never let a prototype out the door. What if it leaks, right? Well, I,
Yeah.
I think it has obviously paid off, right? So,
Yeah. Uh, Part of what I went with is the idea of the high, medium, low mix. So
right.
you've got to have your big guys with their big name. You got the medium people who are perhaps a lot of times a little more generous because they're not they're when I'm talking about like YouTubers and stuff
Yeah.
or influencers, they're not huge, so maybe they're a little more generous with their time and energies, or they're more excited. I think that's the real
Sure.
key. Is the ROI is really good because they're excited to work on something like this.
Totally.
And then the low just means like people. I don't even have a YouTube channel, right? Or
Right.
I'm just a guy on your Facebook group that answers a lot of questions and I'm helpful. And getting those people on board, I think, is really huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for the video, we brought in Carlos and Bridget, who are both great content creators. They're not like massive channels, but the important thing to me was that these are real people who really love 3D printing and
Yeah.
use Snapmaker, and we know them. So bringing them in and having the three main actors not be actors, be real people, me, Bridget, and Carlos, I think was
Totally.
really fun, a really different opportunity than you see with a lot of Shenzhen companies in their Kickstarter videos.
Yeah, I found it so interesting, this cottage industry of like Western looking actors, a replica of a New York City subway, a replica of a US suburban house, like full sets where you can just recreate the West without, God forbid, sending your beta unit out to a real person to use it. I've always scratched my head at that because I'm like, is that AI? Like how do they have a Western looking dude in a Western house with a printer that I know they didn't ship anywhere, you know? So Blayne gave some pretty cool behind the scenes on that and how that works.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to talk about the studio for 1 second. Our agency, because we hired an outside agency to do a lot of the video stuff. The agency got a bunch of. They just went on Carlos's Instagram and like looked at his workshop, and they just rebuilt it on a sound stage. They found the right place, and then we were also picking. And so the first choice they had, I was like, it's not right. It looks too modern. And so like, it didn't take them much longer to come back to me with like 5 pictures and with the right like molding and like little details that made it feel like New England. Yeah.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. This whole industry, right? A lot of people are asking in general and also in the comments below, what's next, right? I think you guys would have to be crazy to not be considering a larger format of the U1. Transparency is kind of what you guys are all about. So tell us, like, what's next? What's the focus? Is that already a conversation?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first and most important thing to tell everyone to calm them down a little bit is that what we're really focused on right now is really nailing this particular machine. Really getting, obviously, first the most common filaments, PLA, TPU, PETG, etc. Really nailing those in, getting those working really well, getting the 0.2s, the 0.6, and the 0.8 millimeter nozzles running, up and running, getting the top cover, step by step into the more complex stuff to make sure that this machine, which at its size and price point, we think covers like the greatest number of people, really nailing this one. And then just to pontificate on a possible future, and there are many futures in front of me when I close my eyes.
Right.
What have we been talking about at the water cooler? Yeah, of course, a bigger, better machine is definitely one way to go.
Yeah.
So I think it's likely. But no decisions have actually been made.
Yeah. And I think that's the right way to do it. We all know of so many companies who release a product, it's half baked, and then they just don't go back and fix it. Let me really quickly thank this episode's other sponsor, which is PCBWay. You guys know them. You guys love them. We don't all have access to, an entire assembly line and supply chain in China. Well, now you do, and it's PCBWay. You can get anything done there. PCBs, CNC machining, 3D printing. They even do injection molding if you want to do some of that. And they can do it from 1 piece to 1 million pieces with great prices, great service. They're a wonderful, wonderful company to work with, both as a customer and as a content creator. And honestly, most of the content creators out there would not be able to do what they do without PCBWay. So supporting them supports most of your favorite content creators as well. There's a link in the description where you can get $5 off your first order. And thank you to PCBWay. So Blayne, I think that's all very, very interesting. I think what you guys are doing well, as you said, is you guys, again, I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but because you guys have been so communicative with not just me, but so many people, you guys are doing so many things right? Like I had told you, I'm sure I'm not the only one, like Orca, push the changes back to Orca, do whatever you want with your own slicer. I know you guys have to have a slicer, for the tool mapping and all that stuff. You got to build something, push it back. Yeah. It was pushed back before the video even went, not to mention before the Kickstarter went. The changes were pushed back into Orca before I released my video. Unheard of. Yeah. Literally unheard of. Profiles, you guys are actually working on them. Some of my favorite 3D printer companies that I recommend, there's always that caveat where I'm like, I really love their printers. Their profiles suck. Join my Patreon.
You gotta get custom profiles.
And you guys are doing that. What are some of the other things that you heard from the community and beta testers that you've put into play that you think have contributed to this success?
Yeah. Let me see. The most comprehensive list came from Albert at 247 Printing, who made a like a crazy priority list of what he loved or what he wanted to see fixed first, and like other implements that he thought was really cool. And this actually mapped really well. It was like he took the pulse of the community, because it mapped really well with what other beta testers were saying, what other community members were saying. Let me see if I can pull up my list secretly, because I don't want to share it too publicly.
While you do that, I'll say one thing you guys are doing, especially in light of recent revelations, is you guys are using Klipper, but you're also giving credit to Klipper and saying that you're using Klipper, and I believe pushing back your changes to mainline Klipper as well, if I'm not mistaken. Which is a big deal in an era of printer companies saying, no, it's home developed, it's our own firmware, and then it turns out to be Klipper.
No, we're using Klipper. We're using open source. Our engineers are all really crazy open source guys. They're all very, very pro that. I helped them write a press release early this year that was basically like a love letter that they had written, all of them, about their careers and their time in university and their time here at Snapmaker and stuff, how much and how important the open source community stuff is to them. And so I helped them pick the story that they had been wanting to pitch for so long, because we saw an opportunity earlier this year. You might know why.
Yep.
We would talk about that early this year. Anyway, so they finally had a chance to get it out there. So I helped them, translate it and polish it up a bit. And so there's our announcement of Snapmaker Orca also includes their love letter to how open source works, which is why on our beta test program we pulled in Soft Fever as well as one of the beta testers, people to come in. So that explains part of our close integration with Orca. I'm still trying to commit public pressure to.
Oh, I thought you were still trying to find the list. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I have found the list. That's right.
Okay. Public pressure.
Right,
sorry.
Actually, let me jump to that. I'm still trying to push a little bit of public pressure to. We're waiting for the right time and opportunity, but we will start supporting Orca Slicer more directly and financially in the near future. I just got to find. This is a little behind the scenes. I got to find the right PR opportunity to pull the trigger and do it. So if you're a crazy 3D printing fan and you're watching this, it'll happen sooner or later. I just gotta find the right angle to get the check signed, if you understand my meaning.
Totally.
Let me see.
So while we're on the topic of Klipper, Mapopod has a great question, which is, to what extent are you guys going to open up Klipper? I mean, already people can access the fluid interface, at least on my beta unit. Are you guys going to give people, what's it called, SSH access? Are they going to be able to write their own firmware, play around with the RFID readers? Is it going to be fully customizable, or do you need to kind of control the experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. Number one, the most important thing is that we're going to comply with the license.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a basic requirement of Klipper that not all companies are really following. So that's number one, is we're going to follow the license completely. For a full roadmap on how we're going to work with Klipper, and the main thing, the engineering team is going to be writing up a plan that will be released sometime before the end of the year, I think.
You guys are just doing everything right. Honestly, it makes me
I
so
hope
happy.
so.
It makes me happy because when people get this in their hands, here's the argument against, and I make this argument as well when I use my Apple products. And to some extent, I believe or believed it, which is open source is great, but there are some things, that in order to function better, hardware and software, you need kind of your own proprietary, everything baked in, built together. And what I think you guys have demonstrated, when people get this product, I mean, even just the way the motors sound, like the experience of the product, I'm just going to say it. It feels like a bamboo printer. If I change the yellow and covered up the logo, it feels, it prints, it sounds, it's like everything feels like a bamboo product. And people are going to scratch their heads and go, wait a minute, I thought we had to make that sacrifice of giving up open source and all that if we wanted a product that feels like a DJI drone, you know, this polished printer, or like an Apple iPhone. And people are going to scratch their heads and go, wait a minute, if that's not true, like clearly that's not true. This is open source software and it abides by the license, and they've just built upon the community. And still doing the things that make the product feel like a DJI drone, right? Like very complex boards and electronics and injection molded plastic and stuff like that. But there's a statement in how this printer was built. It's like, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if anyone saw, Mr. Beast did like a commercial for his chocolate milk. This is going to sound so funny. But like his whole thing with Feastables, his chocolate company, is like, all the chocolate companies say the only way to do chocolate affordably is you have to just accept that there's child labor. And he's like, no, that's just an assumption you guys have made, and you've never tried hard enough to break the assumption. This feels like that, where it's like companies say, no, if you want security and if you want a refined user experience and responsive touchscreen and all that, you got to have proprietary firmware. No, no. I mean, you guys have seen my video on the U1. No, it feels like a home appliance in the same way that a DJI drone feels like one. So that's my rant. Sorry.
I appreciate that perspective. I think one of the things Snapmaker has been really good at is the hardware section. And then like our software fell behind. And I think what you see in an open source environment is you have more people tinkering with the software. Right? Like our software team, if I have 7 engineers working on Snapmaker Orca or whatever, I don't know if that's the real number. That's not going to compare to the like thousands of people that are committing to the like mainline Orca Slicer GitHub. I've heard a similar thing actually with the some of the humanoid robots you've seen floating on the internet. This is kind of a tangent, but it's very much related. I think, what is it called? Unitree is the one that's really big and everywhere. And the reason you see it doing so many crazy things is because the hardware is a platform upon which people can go and experiment.
Yeah.
And they can use that open source software that controls that piece of hardware, and they can do all kinds of crazy different things with it because the software is open source. So in my opinion, this is the way that hardware should function and that a 3D printer should function, is like,
yes.
Okay, we're really good at building this hardware and we're really good at integrating this software, but having it more open allows more people to experiment with it and find new paths of development and unlock new things. Let me give you an example of a very difficult software challenge that we have not solved yet. Is the ability to use, so with 4 tool heads right now, you can only use the same nozzle size. So it's got to be all 4 nozzles are 0.2 or 0.4 or 0.6. You can't mix and match at this point.
Okay.
This is something that we would like to solve in the long term. So if we were able to open this up to more and more people to actually experiment with actually how to do that,
yeah,
that's a potential idea of, and an example of something where like community experimentation could solve like a long-standing and complex problem.
Well, and that the beauty of open source goes both ways, right? If you play ball, you also get to benefit from it. And Prusa Slicer now has that. Not well integrated, I'll admit. Like they had me do a video where I'm beta testing it. And it's still, the experience is clunky. You got to click a bunch of check boxes to make sure and verify. So it's not well flushed out, but also I would argue the use cases are not well fleshed out. Like everyone thinks, oh, infill, thick lines, it doesn't actually save that much time yet. But there will be, one thing that I determined would potentially be a very useful thing is like 3D height maps or doing hue forges with a thick base, like things where very clearly you're going to lay down a bunch of the print very rough and then you want to do the detail work. But coming back to my point is like, you guys are playing ball. You're using Snapmaker. You're publishing. You're using Orca Slicer. You're publishing open source. You guys can, in good conscience, benefit from the open source Prusa Slicer and pull that in, and then push it back into Orca, and everyone plays and everyone gets along and everyone benefits, which is fantastic. If you have that approach, if you have the approach of some other companies in the industry where like we've created this innovation and we need to hoard it and not let anyone know how it works and sue people who try to use that innovation even when our patent expires, then it's not a rising. But I think the difference here, right, is, okay, if you're not going to compete on innovation, because maybe you're competing on hardware innovation, but what you're saying when you go the open source route is we're not going to let our software innovation be a differentiating factor because we're going to publish it. In the same way, by the way, that Tesla publishes their patents and licenses them for free. They're like, we're not going to compete on our, defensible IP. We're going to compete on user experience, branding, design, things like that. And so it in some way requires a company to step up and say, okay, what can we compete on? In the case of Prusa, they're competing on customer service, quality, longevity, upgradability. And in the case of you guys, I think you're competing in print quality, price, obviously, user experience. So it's interesting. It requires that extra level of work, right, and creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. I've got my list. I've got my list of fixes. Let me see. The top 3 that were up with the beta unit. Let's see. Improve automated filament loading, the last path into the hot end. That was done. Fix the slicer. Fix some of the cloud connection issues. Done. Extend and improve slicer profiles. Doing. In the process of getting more and better ones.
Okay, Mapopod has another one. Hang on. I don't want to cut you off, but I got a good one, which is,
sure.
I'm gonna give people some inside baseball, which is, he asks, will the configuration for the RFID readers also be open source, or will these components be managed by proprietary software? So, when I was in China, I went around campaigning to you guys, Creality, Elegoo, Sunlu, really anyone who would listen who used RFID. And I was like, there's one company that's not gonna play ball, but why don't we all, we, as if I am in one of these companies, why don't you all converge on a standard, and then that one company that probably won't play ball is going to have to play ball. Right? It's like, if they're not going to do it and publish their standard, which they did say they are going to make it available to other filament manufacturers, so their users can benefit from filament types that they don't make. Didn't happen. So there is a standard called Tiger Tag. I don't know if it's the standard that everyone's going to use, but why don't I not say who? But many companies are already looking at it, and I'm trying to do the Yiddish, shidduch, arranged marriage thing, where I'm like, guys, talk, because I think, and you guys have been receptive to this idea, I think if one or two of the big filament manufacturers like Sunlu or Polymaker says, hey, we're adopting Tiger Tag, and a couple of the 3D printer companies adopt, it's going to be like what happened with Gillette and printables. People are going to reward them handsomely and say, this is pro-consumer. I'm going to buy an Elegoo Centauri Carbon instead of a Creality because I can use all my filament from all the companies, including my Snapmaker filament that came with my U1. There are conversations in the works, but now I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, if you've got an inside advocate for your plan, it's me.
Yes.
Definitely pushing that. I don't think I can say anything definitively,
Yes.
unfortunately. But I would actually thank you for being one of the people who came to Shenzhen, and yeah, like you said, every single person from every single company that would listen, uh, you would tell them about Tiger Tag.
That is
So
correct. And again, I
I
haven't
hope
researched Tiger Tag well enough to know if that's the one. Like I think it's a
sure.
it's a for-profit company, not an open standard, but I think they publish the stand. I don't know. We all need to find a standard. Honestly, Polymaker
Yeah.
is so big, and they sell to Polymaker and Sunlu, right? Provide
Uh,
many of the 3D printing companies with their filament. I now
sure.
understand a few of them have actually bought filament companies or bought their own extrusion lines. But if one of
Mhm.
them says, "Hey, we're doing it," it's
The
just a matter of
dominoes
adding one
will
more sticker in
fall.
their production line when they package for the rest of the company. So I think it has to come from them. But yeah, the fact that you guys and Elegoo are very receptive to the idea is huge.
Yeah. I personally am very receptive to the idea. I'd like to see it happen. And what I will say is, once one domino falls, it's all going to go down. And
Totally.
I would like to be the first, right?
I think the
uh,
goodwill move there is huge. Huge,
yeah,
right? And
absolutely,
it's like you
absolutely.
could almost picture the infographic on the sales page. Like other companies
I
believe in
know.
closed, we believe in open. Open source slicer, open source firmware, open source RFID tags. Maybe not open source
Hmm.
hardware, but
Sure.
you know, yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like the cut of your jib, young man. I like the way you guys are doing this stuff.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Nice. Actually, I wanted to turn this back around on you real quick because I don't
Yeah.
think I actually got to ask you this before, which is how did you get started in 3D printing?
Ooh. So during COVID, uh,
Uh-huh.
basically we were locked inside, and I had a student. It's kind of a funny story I haven't told. I had a student. I used to teach not just learning and memory, but I had like a side course thing about how to create info products and brand your knowledge. And she was an ER doctor and miserable single mom ER doctor, and she wanted to
Mm.
get into like coaching, so mixing medicine with life coaching. And so I worked with her, and she built what is now a really really successful business, and
Mhm.
she's done very well. And she agreed to coach me, and I was telling her how burnt out I was in my last business and how I was just sick of all the work I was doing. Because most of what I was doing at that point was marketing the things that I'd already made, not making new things. And she listened to me
Mm.
for a while, and I think I was like crocheting on the call just because I hadn't put two and two together. And she was like, I don't think you're depressed and I don't think you're burnt out. I think you're just a creator. You just need to
Yeah.
create stuff. And it just hit me like my whole life as a child. I woodworked with my dad. I used to build, custom cars and stuff. And then being locked in this apartment in Tel Aviv in a business where I was mostly marketing and having meetings and managing people, not actually creating. I was just like,
Mhm.
yes, that's what I need. I need to create. And during COVID, I couldn't, go out and do woodworking or go to the yarn store and buy more yarn to crochet. So I
Mhm.
convinced my wife. I was like, we need a 3D printer I can create in the house. I don't have to leave the house. And I just
Mhm.
became obsessed, right? Like I said, all my life I've wanted to create. So that was in 2021, and now I create for a
Mhm.
living, videos and 3D printed projects.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an awesome turnaround. How did you convince so you convinced your wife to let you get the 3D printer. Let me ask, did
Yes.
she have any concerns about the like microplastics in the air, especially
A
since you
little
have
bit. It
kids?
wasn't as much about the microplastics as it was space in our last apartment. So I actually had to
Oh,
clear
uh-huh.
out a shelf in the home office closet. And I
Uh-huh.
actually hung the filament spools down like right above the bed so I could only print a certain height. And then I would close the closet so the microplastics, all that. But that wasn't so much her concern as much as space. She was like,
Oh,
just wait
gotcha.
till we get the new apartment, please, please. We don't have space for this thing. Little did she know, right now I have 70 square meters of printers, basically.
You've got a whole apartment just for printers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I
The
get obsessed, I get very obsessed.
You bring up a very good point, I think, and this is like the logic of organizations is like in any organization, how much time and energy does it spend managing itself versus like doing its mission, right? So if you are a company building stuff, that's like, how much time are you spending chasing your employees down and making sure they're clocking in on time and doing all that internal management versus like getting stuff out the door and selling it.
Right.
Right. So I think that's really interesting that like what happened to your previous effort was it was just bogged down in internal management,
Totally.
those processes that are less fun to you than like, well, what's the point of what I'm doing? And
Totally.
getting
And
to
just like how much time am I actually creating the thing versus talking about it? The beauty of YouTube and the hardest part of YouTube is once I hit publish, there's very little I can actually do to promote it. It's just the algorithm has to take it. I can message the sponsor or do a post, but like once it's out, and I have to just move on. And so it's
Yeah.
100% creative work all the time.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. It's very it's satisfying to be done with something, you know, fire and forget,
Totally.
that kind of feeling.
And that's been me all my life, right? Like I love to build businesses. I don't really like to scale them. I get very bored when the business grows and it's kind of stable and there's very little creativity. My businesses top out, all of them, at around $1 to $3 million a year in revenue, because that's the point. That's like a golden point where you need to start bringing in managers and delegating.
Yeah.
And it's less about creating and more about scaling processes, which I'm not as good at. I had a
That's
question
really
back for
interesting.
you,
Sure.
which I think is an important one. Gonzalo asks, why did such an established company decide to fund a project on Kickstarter if it can ostensibly fund it out of pocket?
Yeah, that's a good question that a lot of people are asking. Let me see. The no BS answer is twofold. Number one, we launched two projects on Kickstarter previously that did really well. Snapmaker Original and Snapmaker 2.0. And then we launched the Artisan, and that one didn't do so well. We self-launched that. So there's one reason, which is we know how to do Kickstarter. We know how to win with it. And the other thing is Kickstarter is not like a public service, right? It's not like a charity.
Right.
So we're not taking advantage of Kickstarter. They take 5%. And then there's a bunch of other costs that go along with using Kickstarter. So they are a really good product launch platform that offers a service to companies like us. So could we self-launch? Yes. But would it be as effective? I don't know. In our history, we've proven that we can do it. The other thing that's really cool, which is very much connected, is when we hit the launch button, people were watching.
Yeah.
People went on Discord and watched the live stream of like the numbers going up on this product that they got really excited about. That's something that Kickstarter really offers.
Yes.
So I think it's a great platform for launches. Lots of established companies are now using it. If you're mad about that, don't talk to me. Talk to Kickstarter.
Yeah. Well, I think look, it's such a hype machine, and also the transparency, right? Of like, for me, it was always weird when a company launches something on their website and they have the slider, but there's no oversight. They could say it's very little or say it's a lot and totally fake people out. Kickstarter is like a trusted third party who's like, no, seriously, 20,000 people have backed this. Seriously, we're going to pay them the $15 million. I mean, that's a big thing, right? Like Loop put up their pre-order thing, the filament recycling thing, and it was on their website, not on Kickstarter. And everyone was like, for numerous reasons, not just that there was no transparency, but people were like, is this a scam? Like, is my $100 just going to disappear into their bank account? Whereas if it had been Kickstarter, first off, the expectation would be, yeah, we get that it's a super ambitious thing that they're trying to do. And it's a Kickstarter. It probably won't, it won't be on time and it won't be exactly the way they say it will. But just having the transparency of like, no, seriously, when we say 1,000 people have already funded this and, we've got $1 million coming in.
Yeah.
It's actually happening.
You know what you're in for with
Right.
Kickstarter. Like you said, it's transparent. And you're not giving your credit card to some like random weird website. And Snapmaker's been around, so it's different. It's different with us because you give Snapmaker your credit card number. And we've been taking credit card numbers for 9 years. It's not really a big problem.
Yeah. But someone like Luke,
Yeah, in general, the premise is of course that this small company you don't know, well, you can use this intermediary that makes it very safe. Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Now, Ethiel asks, what about stretch goals? Like we're at $18.5 million.
Yep.
I think we should. I have this thing where I have fear, FOAMO, FOAMO, which is I have fear of audience missing out, which is I am going to feel terrible if after all the efforts that I've made, someone sends me a message and is like, why didn't you tell me? Now it's $9.99. Like, let's be very clear, okay? The printer now, they can still get it for $7.99. There are stretch goals, and they're going to get some extra stuff if they buy on Kickstarter. But then it's not going away after the Kickstarter. It's just that price goes away. Like, people will still be able to order after the Kickstarter before the product is, shipping.
After Kickstarter, we're going to move over to like a normal pre-order system. But through Kickstarter, and I don't actually know what the pre-order bundle would look like, but through Kickstarter, you get 2 kilograms of filament. And if we hit the $20 million stretch goal, then you get a nice coupon for HueForge, $10 off HueForge, which works well with FlatForge. And then there's also at that stretch goal, there's also a Snapmaker coupon whose value I cannot remember off the top of my head. If you go to Kickstarter, you can see precisely what we're doing. But I did actually want to mention something about this before we go, because I gotta get running too. Sure. Which is part of our thing with HueForge is not it's not just like I don't know. Some people felt a little bit underwhelmed by the stretch goals, which is fair enough. You're getting a great thing and you get a great price, but I understand that like, I'm getting these coupons. One of the things that we wanted to do with HueForge is that coupon is not just like a pure discount. Snapmaker is paying for part of it, right. For every redeemed coupon. So what we wanted to do is work with community favorite companies and make sure they get a little extra cash flow. Awesome. So it's like a win-win. Yeah, it was kind of our way of saying, hey, we're going to help support.
Right.
They probably like.
And I was going to say, the stretch goals are a little underwhelming, but to me, that just shows how razor thin the margins are and what an unbelievable deal you are getting. I mean, I hope you guys don't mind me saying, like, I'm working with a couple of retailers here. I won't say exact, prices or anything like that, but I'm working with a couple of retailers here because I feel like with my marketing, audience and stuff like that, I can really help make this printer widely adopted here in my local market. And I've been talking with a member of your team about buying 500 to 1,000 printers, and people should understand that the price you are getting on Kickstarter is an unbelievably good price. Like, retailers are not going to be able to. Let me just leave it at that. You are getting a ridiculously low price, and Snapmaker is selling these things in order to get the printer out there and get market dominance. I don't think you guys are losing money. I mean, you aren't based on the wholesale pricing, but the margins are so thin to where, you guys can't offer a $150 top hat for free if we have a stretch goal. So you had said you have to go, Blayne.
So the printer for free. I gotta
run. All right. Well, I will let you go. Thank you for all you're doing to advocate for the community at Snapmaker and just in general. And we'll put a link below which supports the channel if people want to pick up the printer. And I'm going to get mine printing again because it's been resting for like 4 hours.
Awesome, Jonathan. Always a real pleasure. I'll catch you later, man.
All right, my friend. Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infill Podcast. For show notes or links to anything mentioned in today's episode, visit thenextlayer.com. If you enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to leave us a review wherever you're listening, or click the like button to let us know. And consider subscribing to The Next Layer on YouTube so you can tune in live and participate in the next conversation. We'll see you on The Next Layer.